Hello everybody! If you want to read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 773, The Night the Alarm Saved Them. Intermediate. At 3:20 in the morning, the smoke alarm began to scream. Mark thought it was part of his dream at first. He turned over in bed and pulled the duvet higher. Then he heard his mother shout his name from the hallway. "Mark! Get up now!" He sat up suddenly. The sound was sharp and frightening. His heart was beating fast. He could smell something strange, something thick and bitter. His father David was already at his bedroom door. "Shoes on, quickly, follow me," he said. In the hallway there was a thick grey cloud of smoke near the ceiling. The house was a normal 3-bedroom semi-detached home in a quiet suburb. It had always felt safe. Now it felt unfamiliar and dangerous. "Sarah," Mark's mother was coughing. "The living room," she said. "There's fire in the living room." David did not hesitate. "Out, all of you! Out the front door, now!" They had practiced what to do in a fire before, but practice felt very different from reality. Mark grabbed his phone from his bedside table without thinking. They rushed down the stairs. The smoke was thicker now, and there was a crackling sound from the back of the house. When David opened the living room door for a second, a wave of heat pushed him back. Orange flames were already climbing the walls. Something on the small table near the sofa was burning fiercely. "Close it!" Sarah shouted. They ran outside into the cold street. Mark was shaking. He was wearing a t-shirt and thin trousers. The night air felt icy against his skin. David called 999 with trembling hands. "Our house is on fire," he said. 3-bedroom house, number 18 Meadow Close. We are all out." Within minutes, the flames were visible through the front windows. The fire moved quickly, feeding on furniture, carpets and wood. A loud popping sound came from inside as glass shattered. Neighbours began to appear in dressing gowns and coats. The Jenkins from next door hurried over with 2 thick blankets. "Here, wrap these around you," she said softly. Another neighbour, Tom, returned with mugs of hot coffee. Mark tried to hold the cup steady, but his hands would not stop shaking. The fire engines arrived with blue lights flashing against the houses. Firefighters jumped out, calm and focused. They unrolled heavy hoses and aimed powerful streams of water at the blaze. Smoke filled the sky above the quiet suburb. Mark watched as water poured into the home where he had grown up. His bedroom window shattered with a crash. He felt as if part of him was breaking too. After what felt like hours but was only about 40 minutes, the flames were finally under control. Steam rose from the building. The bright orange glow disappeared, replaced by blackened walls and broken windows. A firefighter approached them. His face was tired but kind. "You were very lucky," he said. "The smoke alarm saved your lives." When the fire brigade finally left, the house was almost unrecognizable. The roof above the living room had partly collapsed. The inside was dark, wet and ruined. It was, in many places, completely gutted. They could not go back inside. A friend from Mark's school offered them a place to stay for the night. Mark lay awake on the sofa bed, listening to the quiet breathing of his parents in the next room. Every small sound made him jump. The following day, fire investigators returned. They carefully examined the remains of the living room. In the afternoon, one of them spoke to David and Sarah. "It appears the fire started from a cheap USB power supply," he explained. "It was plugged in near the sofa. It overheated and caught fire. We see this more often than people realize." Sarah closed her eyes. That small plastic charger had only cost a few pounds. It had powered a lamp and sometimes Mark's phone. It had seemed harmless. The weeks that followed were some of the hardest of their lives. They dealt with insurance forms, phone calls and meetings with builders. They wore donated clothes. Their photographs, books and personal treasures had all been destroyed. Mark returned to school, but he found it difficult to concentrate. Loud noises made him nervous. At night he sometimes woke in panic, thinking he could hear the alarm again. Slowly, the clean-up began. Workers removed burned furniture and broken wood. The smell of smoke stayed for a long time. The walls had to be stripped back to brick. Floors were replaced. Every room needed repair. There were moments of deep sadness, but also moments of kindness. Neighbours brought meals. Friends helped sort through damaged belongings. Mark's school organised a small collection to buy him new clothes and books. Months later, the house stood fresh and repaired again. New paint covered the walls. New carpets lay on the floors. It did not look exactly the same, but it was theirs again. On the first night back, David tested the new smoke alarms carefully. He also threw away every cheap electrical charger in the house and replaced them with certified ones. That evening, the family sat together in the rebuilt living room. They were quieter than before, but closer too. Mark looked around at his parents. "We were lucky," he said. Dave nodded. "We lost a lot of things," he replied, "but luckily we did not lose each other." The fire had taken their furniture, their photographs, and their comfort. It had given them fear and many difficult weeks, yet it had also reminded them of what truly mattered. When they went to bed that night, the house was silent. The smoke alarm did not sound, and for the first time in a long while, they slept deeply, knowing that even after the worst night of their lives, they had come through it together. Vocabulary notes. Gutted, meaning destroyed inside with the interior completely burned or ruined, while the outside structure may still be standing. Example, it was, in many places, completely gutted. Similar words. Destroyed, ruined, devastated, burned out. Extra example. After the explosion, the shop looked normal from the outside, but the inside it was completely gutted. Trembling, meaning shaking slightly because of fear, cold, shock, or strong emotion. Example, David called 999 with trembling hands. Similar words, shaking, quivering, shivering, vibrating. Extra example, she stood in front of the audience with trembling fingers as she held the microphone. Fiercely, meaning in a very strong, powerful, or violent way. Example, something on the small table near the sofa was burning fiercely. Similar words, violently, strongly, intensely, wildly. Extra example, the wind blew fiercely along the coast, making it hard to stand still. Unrecognizable, meaning so changed or damaged that it cannot be identified or recognized. Example, when the fire brigade finally left, the house was almost unrecognizable. Similar words, unidentifiable, changed, transformed, altered. Extra example, after years abroad, he returned to his hometown, but it was almost unrecognizable. Investigators, meaning people whose job it is to carefully examine a situation in order to discover the cause or the truth. Example, the following day, fire investigators returned. Similar words, inspectors, examiners, detectives, officials. Extra example, the investigators worked for weeks to find out what caused the accident. Traumatized, meaning deeply shocked and emotionally affected by a very frightening or upsetting experience. Example, the family understandably are traumatized. Similar words, shocked, distressed, upset, emotionally affected. Extra example, after the car accident, she felt traumatized and found it difficult to travel by car again. Extinguish, meaning to stop a fire from burning, to put out flames. Example, The fire brigade arrived some minutes later and extinguished the flames. Similar words: put out, douse, smother, quench. Extra example: the firefighter worked quickly to extinguish the small kitchen fire before it spread. Blaze, meaning a large, strong and destructive fire. Example: the house turns into a real blaze. Similar words: inferno, fire, flames, conflagration. Extra example: the old warehouse was destroyed in a massive blaze that could be seen from miles away. Overheated, meaning became too hot, often causing damage or danger. Example: it overheated and caught fire. Similar words: got too hot, burned up, malfunctioned, short-circuited. Extra example: the laptop overheated after being left on the sofa all night. Aftermath, meaning the period of time following a difficult or disastrous event and the effects that remain. Example: the aftermath and things they had to go through and endure were terrible. Similar words: consequences, results, impact, effects. Extra example: in the aftermath of the storm, many families were left without electricity for days. Story written by Steve UK and ChatGPT. Image created by ChatGPT. To read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.